and that means that it's time for Blabbing for Britain. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Stephen. Sorry about
okay.
the train in the background.
Right, I think we're okay, and we have a third member of the team ready to go. Still a sip of coffee, and 3, 2, 1. He's not advertising the coffee, is he?
It must be Pete.
Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
Right, okay. Weather check. Scotland first.
Oh, absolutely roasting. I left my house to come to my garage from the offices, and my back is roasting just walking across the garden. Beautiful.
Solihull.
It's pretty warm here too. The sun's a little hazy, but I guess that's going to burn off fairly soon. But the real shock was it rained here yesterday. All
Rain?
of 1 minute.
What's that?
50, yeah, about 2 minutes it lasted. I got the wife's washing off the line and then it stopped.
Did you put it back on again?
No, it was pretty dry already.
Right, okay. And as the title says, Blabbing for Britain, episode 135 with Mr. John Upton, Peter Stewart, and me. So good morning, everybody, and thank you for watching us live now. If you want to comment and you want to see your comments, you'll see a link in the post above. Click on that link. You'll still be able to see us, but when you comment, we'll be able to see your comments, which makes a bit of difference because I can actually show them on the screen and they then appear in the recording.
Why did I not see my name there? I've seen your two names, but not mine.
It's definitely there, Peter. You don't see your own
there.
name.
I just don't see it. Okay.
You just don't see it. I did put it on there.
Okay.
Okay.
And I can only see Peter's, but then you took it away, so I don't see anybody.
I'll put mine back then. Okay. I'll take it away again.
Yeah, I got the feeling I know who both of you are.
Indeed. And welcome to the replay, everybody, if you're watching on replay. This is going to be an exciting show, I'm assured. Right, okay, now what we do is we will take some topics from the BBC news site, so acknowledgements to BBC, and then we add our own personal style onto it, and we can end up talking about anything and everything over the course of the next 57 minutes. So, first of all, a Scottish story, Peter.
Oh, a Scottish story.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got a Scottish story.
That's all right, I've got one for you. And it fits in two areas. Military personnel based in Scotland are to be compensated for tax rises.
Yes, quite right too. Being an ex-military man myself, it was always a case of why should we have to pay more because we're here? Because when we lived in Germany, I don't know if you know this, we got a local overseas allowance to help us out over there when we lived in Germany. So it's quite right, they shouldn't be penalised because they're posted to Scotland. And
it's between £50 and £1,000 a year that they're being asked, or are currently being asked to pay, and they're losing out. And I'm just going to go back to the three of us as I'm talking, and they're going to get compensated for the extra tax.
It's just a case of it's like London waiting allowance, really, isn't it? Why should you be posted to a place that's got a dearer tax regime and you have to pay it when you're British? You know, this is one of the flaws in the system of having Scotland having their own parliament and doing what they want. They've got the power to raise taxes, but in the same respect, we get absolutely free. Absolutely free national health care. I don't pay for one tablet, you know. But I wouldn't anyway because of a condition.
I mean, I totally. I mean, I agree that the military should not lose out because of where they're based. Mm-hmm. But the strange thing about this is the MOD didn't talk to the Scottish Parliament. They just went ahead and did it. And even better, if you are gaining tax-wise from being based in Scotland, then you don't have to do anything. You're still gaining. So
yeah,
good news story.
I'm sure I'll buy a Scotties a couple of more pints.
True. Right. The story that unfortunately keeps going is Salisbury. And the latest news is that the police have identified several Russian suspects.
Who will probably be home, sitting at home, smoking a pipe at the moment.
You mean the scarpered?
Yeah. In out, no messing about. And it's gone.
Indeed. And I don't know, some of the stories you can take at face value, but I was told last night that basically the lady who died, it was a perfume bottle that they found with the agent in it, and she actually tried the perfume on.
Yes.
Yeah, she rubbed it on her wrist as ladies do, and because of that, she got a higher dose than her partner, and it's just so sad, And of course, sorry, Peter.
No, it's still here. I believe these people were skip hunters, went around bins and things, checking for stuff.
Yeah.
They got some perfume in their hands and went, "Whoa, that smells nice." Wow, gone. Man, you live next to it, so you must hear all the rumours going, Stephen.
Oh, we do. I mean, we're only sort of 20 miles away. I wouldn't visit Salisbury at the moment, out of choice. We went there between the incident earlier in the year and the one now, and didn't think twice about going there. But for the moment, I think sort of not going there is a good idea. I am not the only one. The thing is that this has a knock-on effect for all the businesses in Salisbury, and therefore for the people of Salisbury at the moment, must be going through a very strange situation. I empathise with them. John, your thoughts on Salisbury?
I think it's a crying shame, obviously, that the lady has passed away. I just really don't know what to say about Russian agents and all that sort of thing. It's sort of, I don't know, spy novelish, really, isn't it, for the most of us?
It is. All of which brings us on to, quite neatly, because you mentioned spies in Russia. There was a meeting in Helsinki this week between President Trump and Vladimir Putin. Do we know? Right, okay. I'm not going to preempt the answer to this, but Peter, what did you think of that meeting? That's a good start.
I try not to get involved because I kind of like Trump for what he's done in certain stages, like North Korea and etc., and trying to get around the table. You've got to admire him for getting around the table and speaking. But sometimes he says one thing, goes back home and says, "Well, I didn't really mean that," and that's the problem. Misconstrued words and also things that he said. Tried to be a tough negotiator and then coming back in it, and so it's a bit disappointing.
But, I mean, you watched the body language from the public part that we saw, and there was no doubt that Putin was in charge. He came across as being the one knowing exactly what he was talking about, exactly what his aims were, exactly points he wanted to make. He had all his answers ready, and it was so one-sided. It was so one-sided. He did not give a good representation of the strength of America or what America stands for. And I think that's most unfortunate.
We can never, ever really trust the Russians, and as far as I'm concerned. But have you heard of Tunnock's tea cakes?
We eat them down here,
Okay, right, okay, Tunnock's tea cakes. Now, the story I heard and read about was when he was in the KGB and they'd done an official visit over to Scotland for some reason, and they put out some Tunnock's tea cakes. He was seen taking a load of them and putting them in his pocket. And nobody said anything. We just looked at each other and let him carry on. He liked them so much he took a lot. But no, there's a lot of showmanship going on just now. Yeah. And he's wanting to be seen to. I just don't know. They'll say things to their face, and then just like Chamberlain said to Hitler, yeah, hey, no problem. And then they go away and then they do their own thing.
It's just if you were a leader of your own country and you came across Trump at the moment, you couldn't actually take what he says at face value, could you? Because he may well be saying what you want to hear or what you don't want to hear. And he's in a short course, he trashed our prime minister. He went before that. He'd been with NATO and told them what he thought. Then he had this meeting with Putin. It's not the best week a US president has ever had, is all I'm saying. Right, okay. We carry on and we say good morning to Alfredo. And Alfredo's saying, is this a dual stream with Video Show Network? We are cross-posting and we are on 10 different pages today. So you'll find us everywhere. We say good morning to Claire, and just going back a bit, Claire saying my niece used to work in Salisbury. My sister visits regularly and lives between Salisbury and Amesbury. Yeah, I do feel for the people in that area. And Claire's saying that Donald Trump has all the best words, but just not necessarily in the right order or at the right time. And that gives memories of Les Dawson. And Alfredo is recognising cross-posting. If you're watching the show, this is Blabbing for Britain, episode 135, with myself, Peter Stewart, John Upton, and we're talking about everything that's happening in Britain. Although being British, we're nosy and we're interested in everything that goes on around the world. And our next topic of the day, taken from the BBC News, is this one, which is, I'm not going to go to, I'll go to this one now. We are currently the second most popular place in the world for students to come and get their degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We're about to be overtaken by Australia because Australia is welcoming students from around the world.
How much they're charging them?
Well, that's it. I mean, we charge them the earth, don't we?
Are they charging the earth?
No, I don't think so. They're welcome foreign students.
Yeah, but the thing is, if they come to our country to learn from our people, pay for it. Or do it in your own country.
Right, but this is income we get into the country. This is exporting our. Okay, fine. Okay, John, any thoughts before I move on?
Well, my worry is not so much the education of those people, but the fact that we won't get to keep their expertise, because about a third of foreign students stay for up to 10 years.
And repay.
And repay through national insurance. Well, they pay anyway, foreign students.
Yeah.
They pay the same as our students. Sometimes, obviously, they pay more. But in the main, they do put back into the university. But it's that expertise that we've created that quite a lot of it stays in the UK. So if it's not coming to UK in the first place, we'll be losing out on expertise.
Has it been to the detriment of the British ones?
Well, just think of doctors.
Yeah.
No, I'm on about, has it been to the detriment of the
we've got a situation where university income is falling.
Right, okay. Well, not in Scotland, because some of them get it free.
Yeah, but that's Scottish individuals or students who've been living there 4 years prior to going to university.
Oh my God, yeah. I thought
that
someone
doesn't apply to overseas people who come to and go to St Andrews or wherever.
Yeah.
This can't be a good thing if student numbers in the UK.
Everybody's going to Australia anyway. Even the nurses that are nurses now are leaving to go to Australia. Why not? Sunshine, opportunity.
No, nurses are not going to Australia.
Where are they going?
Nurses are going to Lidl and Aldi because the pay is better.
Right. Okay.
Serious matters. If you read in the Sunday papers, a lot of nurses are giving up nursing, going to work for the Aldis and Lidls of this world because they can earn more money and on more regular hours as well.
Is that fully qualified nurses,
Yep.
not auxiliaries?
Well, if you ever go into an Aldi or a Lidl, quite often you'll see a poster advertising for staff, and their starting wages are way above minimum wage.
Why are they advertising for staff?
They're the two fastest growing supermarkets in the UK.
Yes.
Because they're doing well.
I certainly go to them both. In fact, I went there yesterday. But I hate going into that home bargains for one item because I come up with 20.
True. They now
have part of Pound World and being shut down, home bargains.
Pound World's shutting down, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, but aren't home bargains a subsidiary of Pound World?
I don't know, but I know this much. I was in and I bought wonderful bicycle mirrors for all my club at 50 pence, half price. And I went in and bought every one that was there to give to members of my cycling club. I felt like a vulture. But somebody else would have.
What did you get for 50p? We didn't quite catch that.
A mirror, a small mirror to go in your handlebar so you can look in. It's actually a very good mirror. And you look to the left and see what's behind you down the street. Very good mirror for 50 pence. 10 shillings in old money for you younger ones, that is.
10 shillings.
Right. Say good morning to Kevin, as founders at last. So you are in the right place, Kevin. We can see your comment. And Claire I misremembered. Claire is reminding us that Morecambe and Wise with Andre Previn did all the right notes, not necessarily in the right order. But Les Dawson was a great pianist, that's all I'm saying. Right. Alfredo is talking about coding.
Yeah, I'm not at all understanding what grep MS1.
MySQL. Yeah.
Oh yes, it's mistyped, isn't it? That's all it is. It's not...
It is MySQL. Well, never mind. It's coding. It's coding. We're not doing coding today. What we are going to talk about, though, if we can, I'm just trying to find what's the word I'm looking for.
There's lots of news. Brexit. What's the words I need to issue driving? Oh, what's this one?
At the moment, when we go abroad, we can take it that we can just check our driving licenses and just carry on. That will not apply, and we may well have to get a permit to drive abroad. At the moment, we issue 100,000 of those a year. Okay, this is forecast to rise to 7 million.
Now, where's the computer system to do it?
Well, they don't have. Sorry, John. They've not written the software yet. It's just got to be done. It's on the to-do list.
Have a computer to use to write the software.
Is this for us to drive abroad and then to come to Britain and drive here as well? Is that what you're saying?
No, this is Brits driving abroad. So if you take your holidays and you go in the Channel Tunnel, cross to France, and you drive into France, as soon as you get into France, you're going to have an extra document.
No problem, because see, when I went abroad, I got an AA international driving license. Did you know you can get one of them?
Free?
I think it's £10 or £5.
Right. And so the very it's going to cost UK drivers at least a tenner.
Yeah, no problem. Bring it on, and let's just charge them £20 when they come in here and say, "Take that." We'll get a driving license. Good idea. Let's bring it on.
And Alfredo's saying, I don't know if this is tongue in cheek or not, but Brexit is still news.
But incidentally, did you know you can get an international driving license?
Yeah, but it's just additional problems. Right. Claire's joined us. Brilliant.
The AA issue it.
So we say good morning to Claire. Good morning, Claire.
Good morning, chaps.
I don't know if this is tongue in cheek or not, but Brexit is still. Have you got a tab open, Claire, with us playing?
I have.
Yeah, we've got Facebook open as well.
Right.
Yeah, nope. 3, 2. Yep, we're good. Good morning, Claire.
Good morning.
Right, now we've talked about several topics. Which would you like to pick up on?
Is that a big enough teacup?
My coffee cup. I had to go and grab coffee before I came and joined you guys. I was listening in earlier.
So, which topic would you like to pick up on that we've gone through so far?
Oh, crumbs.
We can stick with Brexit for a moment if you want. Right. Now, this is like watching a comedy of errors at the moment. It really is. It's so. If it wasn't for the fact that it affects every single one of us, it would be a farce.
Mm-hmm.
The best Brian Ricks tradition.
Well, I've got a prediction.
Yes, Peter.
Just shortly, bang. Mrs. May is going to get toppled, and we're going to get Brexiteers in, steering the ship before very long. The phone calls will be going hot just now around the country. Are you in? Are you out? Are you in? Are you out? And I do believe it's going to happen, because if they go in with the soft Brexit of what they want, there is going to be absolute mayhem. And I'll predict this: if it does go ahead, the Tories will get slaughtered in the next election.
So
we've even got the Blue Rinse Brigade phoning up, saying they will rip up the Conservative cards if it happens. And that's little old woman ready to take up arms.
Well, John and I have been consistently saying this is a poison chalice. Nobody wants to take us out of Europe. And I think if Mrs. May is toppled and sent to the backbenchers, she'll be one relieved lady. Claire.
Definitely. Yeah, I think she's sort of, the fact that she wanted to call holiday 5 day or recess for Parliament 5 days early is sort of to avoid being toppled. I think there's a pretty good chance she will, but who else is going to actually take it up and run with it? Because I mean, the Tories are so divided.
Yeah.
Never mind the country being divided on this. And saying one thing, I mean, what came out at Mansion House to what came out at Chequers to then going back on that. There's so much infighting going on, never mind what's going on across Parliament generally, that it's definitely a poison chalice. And I don't think the Brexiteers have got any better ideas either, because what they're coming up with doesn't make any sense. We've got to get this through the EU 27, whatever we come up with.
Well, this is what I think will happen. Now, all the time, remember, politicians like Rees-Mogg keeps saying, no, I'm not going for Prime Minister. I'm getting us out of Brexit. He's going to get phone calls with everybody and say, we're going for it, and we want you to be the leader. We want you to be the leader. You're the man to take us out. And I reckon that's what will happen. Everybody thinks Boris Johnson will go. I reckon it'll be Rees-Mogg. It'll come in, just like a horse race. It'll come in at the final hurdle and bang, it'll be in there, bump, and that'll be it.
If Rees-Mogg gets in, it'll take the country back 100 years. The man's mad.
Good old-fashioned Britain.
Yeah, it's Alice in Wonderland, and we've got people playing the different characters, and unfortunately we're in the middle of it. I mean,
yeah, and that's it. This is real people's lives that are going to be affected. Yeah. And I know it's all speculation at the moment, and as Kevin said, it's all a bit of Chinese whispers, because it's all very well coming up with, this is the proposal, this is what we're going to do, this is how it's going to be. But until somebody actually says, yep, that's it, this is what we're going for, we have absolutely no idea. So all these things around driving licenses, around visas, tariffs, medicines, which is going to be a major impact if that does hit in, food price increases. We don't know any of this or what the impact's actually going to be until they actually make a decision. And we know one way or the other. And unfortunately, we're rapidly running out of time. And if we do leave without any of these decisions being made, any of the agreements, there is potentially the worst case scenario on, ironically enough, April the 1st next year. I really hope that's not going to be the case, that there's going to be some maybe we even, perhaps what she's going for is actually asking for an extension to Article 50. And I was thinking at the time, and even when it happened, is it was sheer madness to trigger Article 50 without at least not having done some basic looking at what might be needed, what might need to happen, and what the possibility was and what the options were, and then trigger it when you're a bit further down the line. So they triggered it, and now there's all this big mess and conflicts and different.
Well, the reason they got caught out was because David Cameron didn't think for 1 minute that he would get beaten.
Yeah,
that's the problem, and they never really sat down and worked out what if. And that's the long-term problem. And he put it to the people, and he couldn't believe it when 17 million people came back and said, yes, we want out. And then he walked out the door and left it for others to do. And that's the problem.
But what he should have done, because it was only ever an advisory referendum, he should have said, okay, which, as the courts have just said, is the equivalent of an opinion poll. To have said, right, okay, we hear you. What we will now do is do what they've been doing, look at what the options are, look at what it actually means, and then take it forward, not this knee-jerk, right, that's it, we're out. And the same thing with Article 50. Right, we trigger Article 50 without even knowing what it was we were going to do next.
Well, all that should have been thought about before, and everybody should have made up their mind. But how's the thing? What happened in Ireland? Why did they get asked to vote again? And then it got re-voted the other way. And there was another country as well. The European Union will keep digging and sticking and putting in pins until we have another vote. That's what they're after again. Just like they done with the Irish when they voted against it, and they're still in the European Union.
I'd be happy to have another vote.
So would I.
What happened with
I
Ireland?
think
Can
the
anybody remember?
people were conned by a big bus with 300
Oh,
million
don't
for
go on
them
it. She's
will
already
vote
said she was.
sensibly.
Don't go on about the bus. She's already said she's going to give more than that. And if I was to sit down and work out.
No, that's not the point I'm making. I'm not making about the point about the amount of money for the NHS. I'm making the point that voters were misled prior to the...
Voters were thick because they didn't look into it properly.
She can't give more than what was said on the bus, because that's what we give to the EU. And she also has to cover all the EU grants, the development grants, the farming, the offsets for businesses, everything else that we were getting back from the EU has to be covered by that 350 million.
Yes, and every project that we've paid into, buildings, etc., will say, oh, by the way, we've got a share in that. Put it back into my hand, please. It works the same way. We've put money in there too.
Yeah, but we've got a lot back.
Yeah.
We've got that amount back in business and trade and all the businesses that are here because we're part of the European Union that are now moving back into...
Here's another thing. Why should we have to live on subsidies from European Union for farming?
Because our farms aren't viable without them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, so what happens after that? If we don't get the subsidies, what happens?
Well, this would not be in our... Sorry, Claire, just for a sec. If the farmers were not viable, if they couldn't maintain their farms, then the farms would close. We would lose the ability to produce crops and livestock permanently. So if we ever needed it, it wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And also our countryside would be decimated because it's the farmers that take care of our countryside.
Right. So what subsidy?
That's just my point.
What do I get as a subsidy? Nout. I'd be thrown into the gutter if things went wrong for me. There you go, Pete. You learn judo, you'll know how to roll into the gutter.
Right. Okay. Peter. Right, I'm going to bring Stephen in to referee. I'm going to drop out for a moment. But I just want to... Are we Brexited? Because, yeah.
Do you really
Claire, do you want to say something on farming before we change the topic and bring Stephen in?
I totally agree. I think they are the guardians of our countryside and they are going to be hard hit. I did see something that said, great, the farmers can grow more crops, they can get more for their the crops and the dairy and everything else. It was around the whole cheese debate. But they need to charge an awful lot more in order to be profitable. So therefore, prices are going to increase. And we don't have the land, even if we reopen all the farms that have closed.
I have a friend who owns a farm. He doesn't farm it, he owns a farm.
Yeah, the other thing, a lot of tenant farms.
Leaving, we asked him what Brexit means to him. And he said, I might have to buy a Ford instead of a Range Rover.
I was going to wait to say that. Don't drive a Mac. Change down to a Mini.
They're all owned by BMW now. The Minis. Morning, all.
Morning.
Have you had a nice time with Peter over Brexit? Have you had a nice time, Peter?
I think Peter needs a connection on his arm to a meter that shows his blood pressure. As he raises up and starts to rage, we'll watch the blood pressure rise.
I'm off my beta blockers now, so my blood's able to pump normally.
Beta blockers? You're back playing snooker, are you?
Don't get that one.
That's what the snooker players take to keep
to calm them down, yeah. No.
Not like it's Valium, is it, John? It's
Where's Red Ken been lately? Where have you been?
Oh, God. Well, I haven't been to Scotland to watch the World Cup. That's for bloody sure. How's the weather, Peter? Are you coping with this, what we call summer?
Well,
you know that one, I'm afraid.
Well, let me tell you something. Just about business news. I'm not wanting a third employee at the moment because it's just crazy.
Well, that's good.
Never stop ringing, so I went from 1, 2, 3, and plus I go and do a couple of things as well. So there you go.
My mate, my pest controller down here, he's never been so bloody busy. He's never been so busy, which is absolutely incredible and good. But you're always going to need pest controllers, Peter.
And does he employ anybody?
Nah, not at the moment. He's got about 4 companies that he calls in to do specialist things like eagle removal, like that, sort of a little bit esoteric. But he phoned me up the other night because I did an app for him, and I need to print off these things, and okay, calm down, and then we did it. It's all part of the service.
Very good.
What have I missed? Anything exciting?
Pete raising his blood pressure by waving his arms around.
That was me being calm. It's just how I express myself.
Oh, and Pete cleared out Home Bargains of their entire stock of cycling.
I put a post up the other day and says, I've went into Home Bargains for one item, and people were commenting, bad mistake.
I know it's Brexit, and I hope you haven't covered it, but you know how your side illegally overspent during the election campaign? Do you think we should rerun it and they should pay?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what I want. I want part of my £9 million that the government put out to manipulate the citizens of Britain with their basically campaign using the taxpayers' money to get their message across.
That's the question, sir.
If they've done it, they've done it. But I'll guarantee you, they'll be digging into the other side at the moment, see what we can find with them. There'll be a lot of them sweating, I'll tell you.
Like I said, you might not have understood it because it's not something you do very often. What's the answer?
What's that?
The question.
If it's done, I'll just wait until the proof of the pudding and see what the answer is. But I'll tell you what, the leavers, they don't have to try and look for anything. It was a fear, it was a war.
Fourth time.
It's not going to happen, Stephen. It's not going to happen. Right. Okay. Can we? This is very rare. I've actually found a good news topic.
Yay.
Okay. And I want to. Basically, I didn't know that this actually existed. But Generation Sensible. And I'll give you some stats to go with, and I'll bring back John. Generation Sensible is people aged between 18 and 24. Number 1. They are drinking less. Number 2, they are taking fewer drugs. Number 3, there are fewer teen pregnancies. Number 4, younger people are less likely to smoke. And number 5, fewer younger people are getting arrested. So all the indicators are going the right way. So let's talk about some good news. Let's talk about our youth. Well, not youth, but people aged 18 to 24 in the UK who are showing us all how it should be done. And with that, I'll bring John back.
I know what's happened. I'll wait till John comes up.
Hello.
I know what's happened. Okay, John. Why all this has happened. Because they're stuck to their blooming seats with their face in an iPhone. That's right. How can they have sex when they've got an iPhone in front of them?
I heard that as well.
I'm not so convinced of that one. I think that's the circa 25, 27, 30-year-old that's stuck in the iPhone. I think the younger ones haven't got enough money to buy the iPhones, which is why they're buying less drugs and less alcohol.
I don't know. The number of young people I see with brand new iPhones, and I sort of think, how can they afford to buy all these? They're all getting them on contracts, I guess. But yeah, I heard that stat as well. And it was put down to the fact that they're more on social media and online games, and particularly this Fortnite thing that seems to be out there. I don't know if that's that age group in particular, but that's what they're doing. There's more screen time, so they're not going out as much. So that was being attributed to why some of these things are down.
Yeah.
I did a mock interview exercise with a local school a week or so ago, year 10s, which I think is 15, 16. And obviously they're younger than the thing Stephen mentioned. But to meet with them was a joy. They were so sensible. Okay, that's the word that Stephen used. Sensible, but they've got an outlook on life which belies the sort of stereotype of these youngsters. And they knew what they wanted to do. They were switched on. They do a lot of interaction with their friends, but in the real world. So I believe that Facebook is. I believe that Facebook is not so popular. It's no more about WhatsApp these days. So there's micro network type things. But I think about the drinks thing. Drinks are so bloody expensive. It's just craziness.
Yeah.
And not smoking, I think that's been happening for a long time. I mean, I've got 3 children. They're all older than 24. None of them smoke, and every one of them has been giving their mum, who does smoke, a hard time for the last 15 years. Yeah. There hasn't been any difference, but their attitude is, Tom's 30, and his attitude has always been smoking is a disgusting thing. Mm-hmm. So I think the less smoking has been, around for quite some time.
Well, my brother-in-law's a doctor, and he was telling me that it's 17% of the population are smokers. 17. Could you imagine a few years ago what that would have been percentage-wise?
It was about 50% that long ago, Pete.
17.
No, but it's come right down. Used to be about 50% of the population smoked. Mm-hmm. Down and down and down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's great. And it just shows you, by less advertising, being less glamorous, all these sorts of things, hiding them in the supermarket, although you might not think they're working, it's obviously worked. No smoking in pubs, etc., public places. Very good.
A combination of factors, and we all benefit from the fact that smoking, as Stephen said, has gone from 50%, and you said down to 17%. So that's good. Mm-hmm. I just love the fact that the indicators are heading the right way. and for the 18-24-year-olds, because it does bode well for the future. And Claire mentioned Fortnite a moment ago, and it's now being said by educationalists that schools could learn from some of the things that are in Fortnite. And I totally agree. Gaming is a great thing. Right, and you don't overdo it, Peter. Gaming is a great thing because it teaches you to think. It improves your dexterity. It's got a whole load of benefits going for it, which we don't normally see. Which brings me on to cricket. Cricket is. Sorry, I had to. I just want to acknowledge the fact that England's stuffed India by 2-1, winning the series. I'll be back again with cricket. Stevens are gone. It's walked off. Back again with cricket in August. His chair's empty. That's the effect cricket has, really. He's going to come back. He's just filling his glass. Right now, Google are about to be being hit with a 4.3 billion fine by the EU because they're not giving us enough choice. They own the soccer pitch, and they're making sure that they are the biggest player on the pitch.
Good for them.
You think it's good to fine companies when they overstep marks?
So what did they do to get this fine? Exactly what did they do?
Oh, exactly. They've got a dossier on that, Peter. I can only give you the summary. Basically, they've been using Android to their own benefit is the charge.
Don't most businesses that are out there do that themselves?
Isn't that what most companies do? Use their own product for their own benefit.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a situation. Android is virtually, as far as an operating system, Google own it. It's monopoly, isn't it? There aren't different flavors of Android by other companies.
But there aren't different flavors of Windows by other companies.
Yes.
Wish there were.
So
The world would be a better place.
So if you don't like Android, go to Apple. And if you don't like Apple, go to Windows. Simple. There's 3 in the market. They're all big enough. What's the problem?
No, there isn't really a Windows market in the phone market anymore.
But they pulled it.
It's end of life Windows.
Okay, right. So is it just for phones then, Stephen?
I'm just saying. All I know is that it's a whopping $5 billion fine, and they're contesting it. On that note, yep.
Sounds like a good reason to leave the EU.
Yes. Get our officers out of the EU. That's what they'll be saying.
They're acting in our interests. Anyway, next topic, and it is one of, well, I'm going to put the topic up and just pitch in. I'll bring Stephen back. Cliff Richard won his court case.
Okay, I'll start. Everybody's sitting back. Good for Cliff Richard.
Topic.
Sir Cliff Richard. Good for
This
him
is
winning.
exciting as cricket.
Who did the BBC think they were doing what they done? He wasn't even arrested.
The BBC were invited.
Yeah, well, they're invited. Well, the cops.
They made the mistake of inviting them. The constabulary settled out of court.
Well, I
the
think
BBC
should be invited to
made him
jail.
a charity offer, and he would have settled out of court too.
Yeah, and that's how corrupt the police are getting. I would have opened the jail door and invite him in and shut the door behind them, because that's what they need. They're getting corrupt.
We need that blood pressure meter again, Peter.
They've ruined the man's life for what they've done. It's an absolute disgrace.
They haven't ruined his life. He was too big to be ruined by a 3-minute video of police entering his house when he wasn't even there.
Yeah, but to be accused of what he was being accused of, that's the problem.
But that accusation was around regardless of the house entry.
Well, they shouldn't have had a helicopter filming in there. Nick Ferrari's talk this morning said if he was in charge of Sky as he was at the time, he would have got the helicopter, but he wouldn't have put it live. They would have looked at the video and chopped and changed it as required to protect the person as well.
I was just going to say, is that any different from most of the other reporting that goes on around the celebrities and what they're doing, where they are, who they're with, what they've been up to? There's enough of that going on that it's not as though this was
They all want the positive stuff, none of them want the negative stuff.
Yeah.
The issue is apparently about naming somebody before they've been arrested.
Yes.
That's the issue. It's not about whether it's Cliff or whether it's a helicopter or anything. It's about naming somebody who
innocent
been arrested.
Well, never mind Sir Cliff Richard. I just do not think anybody, whether it's a rape or whatever, a murder, nobody should be mentioned until they're prosecuted and they go up before the beak.
What does that mean, though? Come on, say it.
Well, it means that vigilantes have went after people, and some of them have committed suicide when they were innocent. That's what it means.
What do you mean by the judicial process? Do you mean that nobody should be, no names should be given out?
No, because what we have now,
until they're charged.
What we have got now is we have trial by media. We don't go, but you're trialed by the media before you go to the judge now. And that's the problem. And that's the way the country's going. Everybody wants their bit of them now. Social media, tell us now. And they're not going through the due process. And innocent people have been dragged through the mud because their name's been leaked, and it's not fair. How would you like it?
So what are you going to do instead? What are you going to do about it?
You let the police get on with their job. You put on reporting restrictions, like they did with a chap called...
When do you put on reporting restrictions?
Well, when a chap called Tommy Robinson got arrested, they put report restrictions on him.
Yeah. So when? When did they do it? Before they charged him or after they charged him?
Well, even they can actually say, no report restrictions in this. It involves children. We're going to make sure we've got the facts. No report restrictions. Thank you very much until we go to court and we're given the final answer. How about
that? You're not giving me what I want, Pete. Are you telling us that? Are you telling us that? And Claire mentioned it. I mean, Cliff Richard, Sir Cliff, was under. They have to be careful, haven't they? A person can be under investigation for years.
Yeah.
Before they're charged. All right.
Yes.
Are you suggesting that you can't name the person until they are formally charged? Is that what you said?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And I got it. I didn't think so. Sorry, Claire.
Across the board, because I agree with Peter sort of saying it is trial by media, because they're so desperate for news and headlines and to be breaking a story first that these things do get out there, and then you've got social media spreads things around.
Yeah.
And
I'm just trying to get the principle agreed that you can't or shouldn't name people until they are formally charged.
Mm-hmm.
I get that, and that goes for, I think, rape cases at the moment, doesn't it? Not for the alleged perpetrator, but for the victim.
About 18 months, we had a situation where a young man was viciously attacked because he was accused of rape around here. And in fact, it was a false accusation, and he lost the sight in one of his eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of very much in favour of now, depending on what you're talking about, not identifying people. And
who says what?
Is more evidence.
Who you said depending on what the situation is, John?
Well, I do not have a problem.
You're going to be the one to define that
part being identified. Yeah?
Are you going to be the one who says, "Oh, in this circumstance, we can do this"? You personally, would you be happy to take that role on?
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a blanket situation until you've got to a point where it's beyond reasonable doubt.
can't say that, mate.
No.
You can only say beyond reasonable doubt when the jury has said beyond
Yeah.
reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Yes, in a way, I'm sort of think that's the only level at which you should start naming people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't believe today, 1, 2, and even Stephen Healey, 3 people that are agreeing with Peter Stewart today. I cannot believe that. No, I'll tell you,
agreement.
I'll tell you what, I hate injustice. And look
Yeah.
at,
I
and look
definitely,
at just
I definitely think you've got to protect the innocent people, and
yeah,
you are, in our law, you are innocent until proven guilty. So
But unfortunately, that
By
doesn't work in a lot of people's minds, does it?
no, it doesn't.
no,
No smoke
And it
without
also doesn't
fire.
work when you've got
Absolutely.
media there and you've got social media who get these stories out, and that's part of the whole Tony Robinson case. Is he was getting that story out into the media, which was prejudicing the actual court case.
But whatever we've said in the last couple of minutes, we've gone from 6 viewers to 1. So the topic's obviously frightened everybody away.
yeah.
There are other platforms available.
No, the reason I don't like injustice, how many people have been jailed for over 25 years, etc. I think there was a guy called Kitco or something like that. He was mentally unstable.
Yeah.
They got him to admit it. His life was misery in prison. He came out and he only got a year to live after that. Because some bent policeman, now nothing against the police really, but some bent coppers to get their figures and get somebody for it, put him in prison for all that time. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if they were bent, they should have done the 25 years as well. But what did they get? They got their pension and told to go away quietly. So it's totally unfair, and it can't come to anybody. And there's been too many people in the past that have probably been hanged that were innocent, jailed because they were innocent, and committed suicide because they were innocent. Here endeth the lesson.
Totally with you there on injustice, Peter.
So it does, Peter. I'm back for a few seconds. Right. Okay. I want to end on a better note because we've had a variety of topics this morning. And the last one is hot news because it was only released 12 minutes ago. And that is that one of our supermarkets, Morrison's, is introducing a quiet hour for autistic shoppers. And basically what they're going to do during the course of that hour is dim the lights, turn the music off, avoid using the tannoy, and turn off checkout beeps between 9 and 10 o'clock on Saturdays. So I think that's a good move in the right direction. Your thoughts?
Wow.
Bit late.
Sorry?
A bit late in the day. 9 and 10
to
o'clock.
10, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
9 a.m. I thought it meant 9 o'clock at night. Yeah. So that's on a Saturday.
That's
so
on a
that means
Saturday.
all the autistic people can't have a lie-in.
No, I think it's just a fantastic.
I was going to say that it's something that we probably don't even think about or are aware of as being a problem. So I'm guessing that Morrison's have recognised that there are autistic people out there, that this is an issue for them. So, yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to have an ask of my son Phil, because for 8 years Phil worked as a carer for the Autism Society. He's gone the other way now and now works for people with dementia. But he worked with people with autism for a long time.
So are we allowed to shop with them? Can we go into shops as well, do you think?
Yeah, it's just open, but we'll have to accept the fact that there won't be any la music, which will be.
Oh, fantastic! I'll get my breakfast in peace when I go there and have it.
I think between 9 and 10 on a Saturday is probably one of the busiest times. That's when everyone goes in and does their weekend shop. So, yeah, that could be interesting in itself.
Well, I actually, believe it or not, yesterday I was in a shopping place and there was a woman there with, obviously the girl she was with, an adult, had some sort of problem. But she actually had a placard hanging around her neck and on her chest. I didn't have the heart to go up and read it. but obviously it was explaining her situation, you know. And I thought, well, there you go. I've never seen that before. Or maybe it was something like, you know, I've got autism. I may behave differently, something like that. But I didn't stare and read it. But yeah, I thought it was a good idea, so people know.
Right, we've lost Claire's signal, so
Oh,
I'm back. Right, okay. So, over to John, because we've 4 minutes to go.
Why pick on me? What have I done?
Can I just ask a quick question?
Surely.
I'm using Google Chrome, and this is the worst I've seen of BeLive TV screen. You guys are all whacked up, if you don't mind the expression, at the top of the page, and then there's a huge expanse of white, and then I'm stuck down the bottom right.
Yeah.
How are you guys seeing yourselves?
Everybody looks fine now, but once or twice Peter's gone very fuzzy, shall we say.
What about the shape of the way in which the screen's painted?
It's no different from where it ordinary always has been.
Oh, well,
You're than you're used to.
I'll take a screen grab and send it to you, and you can let me know what you think.
Okay.
Have you got a new MacBook?
No, I wish.
Right.
Because obviously the later MacBooks have a higher resolution.
Yeah, this is on 720.
Just a couple of things before John continues. First of all, if you've not noticed, gents and viewers, John has actually installed his C920 camera, and we can see him in glorious colour.
What I can see, and I can only see half of it, looks superb, and John does as well.
There we are. And
I'm not even sure that's working.
it is.
Second thing is thank you to Claire, who dropped out purposely so that I could come back in for the last few minutes for the show. So thank you for joining us, Claire. And thank you. Over to John again.
I think we could all learn a lesson from Claire.
Sure we could.
No. I'm
Courtesy.
what she does. There's a lovely advert over her shoulder at what she does. So there. The day before yesterday, I attempted to join in and comment on your show from a phone, Stephen.
Yeah.
And you know how you post a link that says to comment?
Yep.
Please go here.
Yep.
But when I click on that, it just says page cannot be loaded.
On mobile, yeah, I get that problem too. I get that. It's a Facebook feature. If you're on desktop, there's only ever one link. There isn't a different one between desktop and mobile. It's the same link. If you're on desktop, it simply works. If you're on mobile, it's potluck.
It didn't want to work.
No.
Oh, well, I was down with Lottie, so I thought I'd watch. But there.
Right.
So I guess as it's 10:58, it's the end of our session today. I struggle to believe that we're now at episode 135. It's quite frightening, really, isn't it? I think we've now spent more time on this technology than any other, haven't we, Stephen?
I think that would be fair to say. Yep.
So it shows that BeLive is genuinely working.
Yeah, and I'm paying for it too. Yes.
You're actually paying for it, are you, Peter?
Yeah, I've got the paid version.
Even with your deep Scottish pockets, you're still paying for it.
Yeah. I'm ready for the mousy man this afternoon.
I watched the replay last week.
Did you?
I couldn't get there for live. I'll see if I can.
Gordon was so busy he couldn't come on it.
Well, that's not bad. So, Peter, where's the bloody thing you've been going to send me for the last 4 weeks? This wonderful new logo.
Yes, I'll get it sent after this, and I also, gents, I need to get the controls of the camera because you're a bit wide as well, John. I can't find it.
No, that's my end. It's definitely wide, and I can't make the C920 get any closer up unless you.
No, but there is an app. I believe you can download an app for it. And
yeah, I have run the app to adjust it. There may be an
Stephen maybe knows what it is.
I've had this for quite some time. Anyway, I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
Are we all happy to go?
Yeah.
It's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Stephen. It's goodbye from Stephen PH. I think we should call him Acid Stephen PH. No, never mind. That was supposed to be.
No, don't.
And Peter, and thanks again to Claire. Look forward to seeing Claire on the show soon. So, bye from us all.
Little bit.
Bye.